What's up guys, Julian here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make modern jungle rave music in the style of AceMoMa, MoMa Ready, AceMo. You know, this style, very jungle and breakbeat influenced with a modern touch to it. As usual, you can get the full project files, samples, MIDI, presets. This entire template is all available right at the top of the description. Go grab that. You're going to get this really awesome jungle template, in my opinion, the best one on the market. Plus, it really helps support me. If you guys enjoy these videos, if you enjoy these tutorials about stuff like this that's not out there, definitely go grab this so I can keep going and keep bringing you guys new videos every single day. Every little support helps. Thank you so much guys for the support, and let's dive in. So, we're at 166 BPM, you know, already pretty close to drum and bass tempo, but I think like normal drum and bass tempo would be like between 170 and like 178, maybe depending on what style you're doing. I think putting this closer to 160 already gives it that more like jungle kind of 90s feel, because originally jungle was kind of like working its way up, you know, like 150, 160, getting up to the 170 range. So by keeping it a little bit lower, you just get that more old school groove already. Whereas obviously still fast, it's still in that drum and bass range, but it's just not quite that just, and it gives you a little bit of a different feel. And if we put this, like you could even go to like 160. So yeah, that's actually very important. Then, the first thing that we have up here is going to be the breakbeat. So, the way this breakbeat's being made, we have two breakbeats. Right, that little pattern that's happening, and then this one, which I chopped up a bit. Right, so just classic jungle breaks. You know, if you know about the Jungle Blue Mar 10 pack, I'm pretty sure these guys, AceMo and MoMa Ready, that's what they're using. And so I pulled these, and then yeah, you can see they fit together really nicely, right? Like that's the first thing you want to keep in mind, is if you're going to layer together multiple breakbeats like this, they have to sound really different, so that when you put them together, it creates one thing, versus if you just put together two breaks that are kind of similar, it's going to be messy and they're going to collide and clash. So we've got those, and then you can see on those, I just have actually a little bit of a flanger, like a tiny bit. It's not that much, but you can hear it just adds that like movement over top of the breakbeat. You know, kind of makes it sound a bit more futuristic, so that's a really good technique there. And then also just an EQ, which is boosting the highs a little. So that's a lot of what you're hearing. The thing is, though, as you can hear, it doesn't really have the kick or the snare punching through that much, right, with these. So that's where these two layers come in. So yeah, we've got a nice punchy, just very hard-hitting, like a house or garage type of kick. And then we also have this nice super punchy snare. And what's happening is, so you have those two just doing like a, like that, but then when you put that with the breakbeats and mix it right, like start with the kick and the snare and then put the breakbeats over top of that instead of the other way around, you can hear it's going to fit in there perfectly, because you have the breakbeats just doing that constant percussion, right? And then we only have other hits to like add to that, not to fight with it or to try to take up the same space. Just like a kick and a snare to make it so the kick and the snare really punch through on the breakbeat. Ideally, you want these to all just kind of sound like one beat, right? We also have, with the drums, these two breakbeats. So all that is it's this break that I chopped a little. And then this amen break as well. And you can see the little detail there is this stepper break right here. That like thing where it kind of does that. You get that, and then the amen hits on the snare. Right? So it's like creating a groove by having that come in there, and then it does the same thing over here. And the other thing is, this is just meant to be a bit of a fill, because like if you just have these, like this main breakbeat, you know, with the jungle style, it needs to be a little bit more dynamic, right? Like you can't just loop this over and over. Right? It gets really repetitive. So you have it do that, and then the second time it stops, and that's where these come in. So it's simple, but it's really going to keep the track exciting, I think. And you really want to do this like, you know, every 4 bars, every 8 bars. Keep it pretty frequent with these fills and having the different breaks come in, because that's where a lot of what's exciting in this track is going to happen. You got to keep in mind, like, you know, these melodic things are very atmospheric and repetitive, but the breakbeats are really where a lot of that dynamic is happening, and where a lot of things are moving around and changing through the track to keep it exciting. So keeping it really dynamic with these fills. And yeah, it's going to stay a lot more exciting. And with those, you'll notice, you know, you really don't need that much processing, just like a high-pass filter. I think that's another thing I want to clear up. A lot of people think that when you hear these tracks, oh yeah, the breakbeats have so much texture on them, let's put saturation and compression. Really, I think the way it works is you find a breakbeat that has the texture already, and then like maybe if you want to add the flanger or like boosting the highs, you know, for some texture, you can do that. But you're not just going to find like a kind of flat sample and then add a bunch of saturation to it. Don't do that. It's never gonna sound as good as if you find something that has a nice texture and then you bring that in rather than trying to change it once it's in the track. Cool. So now the next thing that we have here is actually going to be this pad. So, this pad might seem a little bit crazy. But what's happening here is we're in the key of E minor. And it's like these jazzy chords in that key. Now you'll notice it's not always just like on the root note though. Like here, for example, see this is actually the root note for the first chord, right? This like middle note. See that? When you hear the whole chord, see, it's the root note. But if you just look at the MIDI, you would think it's like B or something like that. See, like it's actually a really simple pattern. Like it's literally just those are the root notes. But then by using all these different notes that are in the key of E minor, and like having this up here, for example, where you have like a minor third and a ninth and a fourth and a fifth, you create that jazzy, like kind of UK 90s sort of feel. And then for the sound, this is made with operator. So what it is it's 3 sine waves, just doing some FM here. You can see at different octaves. There's a little bit of a detune as well. And what I've done is on the first oscillator, see when you're doing this FM with operator, the envelope of oscillator 1 is going to be the envelope of all of these oscillators basically. So you can see what it does is it dips down. You get like a brrr, like it's just playing, but then it's like kind of dipping down like that instead of just being like a long held out pad. And I think that sounds nice because then every time the chord hits, it's just getting quieter. It gets like louder every time the chord hits, right? And then I have a bandpass filter on that. I also have an LFO on the filter cutoff just a little bit, as well as the volume of oscillator B. So we're getting a lot of movement. Since these are these long held out chords, you want that like kind of like morphing thing that's happening there. And then we just have a bit of reverb and a high pass filter. Again, this is another one of those sounds that I think it's tempting to do all the extra like, oh, we're gonna saturate it and put drum bus on there and try to make it sound vintage. Honestly, that's coming more from the actual sound that's made with the oscillators and then band passing it and getting that kind of like morphing thing with the LFO. That's coming more from all of that than it could ever come from like a saturator or something like that. Then we have the bass. So this is a pretty classic jungle bass, right? Like if I play it with the drums. Right, like it's almost like that very reggae influence, like eighth notes, like dun 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 dun. Like that kind of a bass line. And so, again, all it is, it's an 808 kick. Like literally from the 808 drum machine, not even like a trap one, like straight out of the 808 drum machine. You can see I've tuned it. You gotta do not just the transpose, but also this detune. Usually 808s are a little bit, like if we're looking at the tuner here, this circle would be right in tune. A lot of times the 808 can be like over here, so you gotta make sure you use that detune to get it right on the note like that, or else it's gonna sound messed up. And then I've got it low pass, but then I have a little bit of overdrive on there just to give it some harmonics and make it like a little bit fatter. But you notice we blend it very lightly so that it's not so like in your face. It's just adding a little bit of harmonic content. Again, very simple sound to make. You just gotta make sure it's very in tune. Like, use the tuner here. And one technique I like to do is you can put it up really high, and then you can really hear the pitch. And tuner will be able to pick it up a little bit easier too. Now, for the actual notes on this one, you'll notice something. I just showed you the pad where it's going across all these different chords. Now, the bass line does change notes, like there's a few different notes, but the bass line actually hangs on that first chord the whole time. Right, we're right on E there. Again, E, we're in the key of E minor. And that's a very dance music thing to do, right? Like, if this was like a house track, that's what you would do. Like, the house bass line would be doing something with the E minor scale, and then you would have this chord progression dancing all around it. So, that is, I think, something, again, it's one of those things, like, you can know how to make the bass. Obviously, it's easy to take the 808 kick and work with it, all that. But it's not just that. You also got to know where to put the notes. You got to know how to make them groove, like with that breakbeat, like I showed you, like having the eighth notes. And also just understanding, like, don't try to do too much of a chord progression with it. Just find a nice groove and a note that works really nicely and put your track in that key. And then have the chords be changing while this is still just that steady groove. And the last thing we have here are these three elements. So these are like these atmospheric, like very, very jungle style sort of little hits. So they're made in a few different ways. The first one is made using this like Rhodes sound. You can see I've got a bandpass filter with an LFO, a bit of echo, and some drum bus. And then for the notes, it looks really complicated, but it's basically just the E minor scale, like I was telling you guys about. We're in the key of E minor, so you can see we're using E, so our root note, minor third, fourth, fifth, sixth, another root note, another sixth, another fifth. Very simple. If you're looking at this scale, like you don't even have to know it. You can literally just Google E minor scale and then use those notes to create one of these. But it's just once you get all of those notes together, and you know they're all in key together with what's already playing, and it goes into that delay, you get this nice like wash. And then the bandpass gives that some movement too. This one, it's the same notes, but just less of them. And then we're using operators. So this is like this little sound I made. It's just 3 sine waves with a bit of FM. You know, it's just a little background like whoop, reverb and delay. And then this one is made actually using a stab sample that I made a while ago with the synth. I'll play it for you. And what I did is I brought it into a sampler here. You can see it's playing these chords. Very dubby, but it fits nicely over top of this. And this is something I hear these guys use a lot. So, like I said, I just brought that sample into a sampler here. And then, basically what's creating this is it's a low-pass filter with an envelope on it. So you get that, like, nice, deep, plucky sort of thing. And then it's just going through a bit of echo and reverb and a high-pass filter. The only other thing I'll say it's important to remember with this one is really just the groove, like not having too many notes. You just get that, like, dun 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 dun, like that. And yeah, so that is it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets. The entire template is available right at the top of the description on my website. Do not sleep. Go grab this while it's still available. You don't want to miss it. It's a really solid template. You can get all of this and be able to really take your tracks in the style to the next level. You know, this is a really, really solid template. I'm telling you guys, don't miss this one. You can really make some next level stuff with this. So, thank you for all the support, guys. You know, I don't make a whole lot off of YouTube, but with these sample packs and project files, I'm able to keep bringing you guys new videos every single day. So, thank you so much for the support. If I've ever helped you at all, definitely go grab this. And yeah, thanks, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.